Sorry I'm late, guys. But welcome to Dragonfire, where the truth will always burn bright. And who am I? Well, I'm just an avatar, so I don't really have a name. But if I did, I bet it would be a cool one. Like Max Steel or Dakota Hawk or something. Our first tale of intrigue involves a guy that wants to know if he's an AH for asking his sister, who's pregnant, to pay back the money she owes.
AITAH for asking my pregnant sister for my money back? I, 35 male, lent my sister, 33 female, $8K in 2022 to fund her education, with the promise of being paid back once her career was established. Fast forward, she has only paid back $500. I requested for the money last year when my girlfriend and I found out we were expecting a child. That was when she paid the $500. When I saw her yesterday, I pulled her aside for a private conversation and requested for the money again and for it to be paid on a monthly basis, not even the full amount, just $3K to help with our bills. The only difference now when I asked is that she's pregnant and is due in November. She claims she doesn't have any money to pay me back because she needs the funds for tax deferral purposes. She's a small business owner and makes well over $100K every year. However, she's purchasing and flaunting her new designer handbags and expensive restaurant eats on a weekly basis. In addition to my BIL owning several rental properties under his name. When confronted with this, she basically told me to kick rocks and told me to sell my car if we really needed the money that badly. I told her that she's being very irrational as we only have one car shared between my girlfriend and I, and it's needed as it's our only mode of transportation since we live far out from public transit. This whole conversation began to visibly upset her, and before she stormed out of my home, she yelled that I was stressing out a pregnant woman and I won't have a sister after this because I've made her mad. I've tried to contact her a few times to apologize, but she's ignored all my texts and phone calls. I'm aware of the saying to never lend money if you can't afford to be paid back. I was just baffled with her reaction as I've helped her financially almost her whole adult life before she had a career and became self-sufficient. AITAH for asking money back from a pregnant lady?
NTA. My dude, it sounds like she has the money to pay you back. She just doesn't want to. Let's see what someone else thinks. NTA. Not only has she completely taken you for granted, now that the shoe is on the other foot and you need the money back, she couldn't care less if you and your GF ended up on the street. Drag her on social media and to family. Next, we got one by a dude whose girlfriend has a child, but he doesn't want to pay any of the expenses.
AITAH for refusing to pay delivery and maternity expenses for the child. About 11 months ago, I, 28 male, found out that my GF, 24 female, was messing around on me. We'd been together for 4 years and lived together for almost 2. I thought we had a great relationship, we got along well, regular weekly dates, traveled a lot together and had tons of plans for our future together. We'd even talked about me proposing as soon as she got her finances in order. I found out she was sleeping with a guy who's friend with a best friend's boyfriend. I told her to kick rocks and that I never wanted to see her again. She went on and moved in with that best friend and her boyfriend. During that time, she never told her family that we broke up or no longer lived together. A few weeks after she moved out, she reached out and told me that she was pregnant and that she is certain that it's mine because the times they slept together they used protection. For context, my pop passed when I was a child and I have very little memories of him, and as a result my family struggles and it affected me for a long time. I told her, when the kid is born and is confirmed as mine, I'll take care of everything. Until then, leave me alone. A few weeks later, we met up and she swore of everything that the baby is mine and said I should help cover maternity and pregnancy stuff. I told her, keep receipts of everything you spend of pregnancy and maternity stuff. After the child is born, if it's mine, I'll cut you a check to cover all expenses. If it's not, then we'll part ways. She agreed. She then proceeded to get a midwife and a doula for herself. Both pretty expensive. She decided on a home birth. Comes time, baby came early and there were complications. She was rushed to the hospital for emergency C-section and the baby was kept on those wards where they keep newborns who can't survive alone. The day of birth I went to see her, and a nurse took me to see the baby. 2 weeks ago she sent me receipts for everything, and it's totaled over $40K. and she asked for money to pay the doula and midwife. I told her let's wait for DNA results. Well, turns out I'm not the father. I told her I'm sorry, but she's on her own. She cried and said she and the child are ruined if I don't step up and help them, and went on how we can have a successful relationship together and raise the kid, and how she matured and will be a good partner. I told her I have no interest raising someone else's child and to call on the real father. Well, the guy is broke and is a cashier at the local store. Now everyone in her family is trying to convince me to at least pay off the $40K and before going our ways. I said no. AITAH for refusing to step up here? Update, I had to lawyer up. She's still pushing the deadbeat dad narrative and painting me as the bad guy.
My dude, there ain't no way you could be anything but NTA in this story. I mean, because of the really stupid choices she made, her life is now in ruin. That is a problem, but it's not your problem. And this poster thinks, NTA. You were very clear that you would not pay until there was a DNA test, and then only if the child was yours. It's not as if you told her you'd pay no matter what and then went back on it. She knew the situation from the jump, and she gambled on the hope that the child turned out to be yours. Her gamble did not pay off. Our last story is about a guy that finds out after 3 years that his child is not his. Wow, that's got to be totally heartbreaking.
AITAH for starting the divorce process after finding out my daughter isn't mine? My life feels like a bad drama show at the moment. For some context, me, 33 male, and my wife, 30 female, have been married for 7 years, and what I thought was our daughter is 3. Looking back, this all started after my wife gave birth to her daughter. She suddenly became a lot more affectionate to me, and was a lot more active with me in the bedroom life. She also made my favorite desserts a lot more often. She is a fantastic baker. I of course didn't suspect anything, since even prior to her pregnancy there were no signs of her messing around, but also possibly could be that I just didn't look close enough into it. Well, this whole fiasco started 2 weeks ago after a day out with her daughter, and she just sat me down in the evening and came clean about the fact that her daughter wasn't mine. Her waterworks of course also started, and apparently it was a guy from the gym, and it lasted a month before he disappeared on her after he found out she was pregnant. Honestly, even typing this now I feel like crying, since I thought I did everything perfectly, but she still cheated. As much as I wish I could say I had a stone face or something, but I just started crying and she tried to comfort me, but I just pushed her away. I felt so disgusted with her. After I had calmed down a bit, I just grabbed my jacket and left for a hotel, and while I was leaving she just begged and pleaded me to forgive her, and that I was the only father her daughter knew. After crying myself to sleep in the hotel the next day, after I turned my phone back on, I had seen she had blown up my phone, and I didn't read any of it, and just blocked her. After having a little bit of breakfast, I contacted a lawyer to start the divorce process. And at work I just asked for some time off, and my boss gave me a month off. By the evening my mom and sister were calling me on her behalf and were on her side, and that just hurt me even more. While I'm not proud to admit this, I did drink myself to sleep that night. After that night I started staying with my best friend, and my mom and sister kept spamming and calling me. A few days later, after she probably got the divorce papers, my mom just sent me a long text that, to summarize, was that I should step up and forgive her and not abandon my daughter, and that she would disown me if I went through with the divorce. My sister and mom are against me divorcing her, but my best friend and his wife are saying I have the right to not want to be with her or take care of her kid. I'm split on this. On one hand, I did raise the baby for 3 years. On another, I don't know if I could in the right mind raise the child, seeing how she is a reminder of my wife, her affair. Edit 1. To put some context, my sister is infertile, so I think that's also partly why my mom doesn't want me to continue the divorce, since she will lose her grandchild.
NTA. Dude, that is like the best reason to divorce right there. As for your mom and sister, what the bloody hell is wrong with them to threaten to disown you when you've done nothing wrong? They should be on your side. Shame on them. Let's see what another poster thinks. NTA. Your wife also lied to you every single day for 3 years. Well, on that cheery note, I think that is where we'll end it for the day. But remember, we all have choices that we have to make in life. Be it choosing whether or not to ask your pregnant sister to pay back a loan, or choosing if you should pay for the pregnancy expenses for a child that isn't yours, or choosing whether or not to divorce your wife when you discover your child is not your child. The choices we make shape and define our destiny. So, choose wisely. Speaking of choosing wisely, please remember to wisely choose to hit like and subscribe and share. It'll really help our channel out. And don't forget, nothing burns brighter than the truth. Well, except maybe for Dragonfire.